Welcome to the Shiawarma show.
The only show that ain't boring and actually discusses real stuff in complete depth. So fasten your seatbelts and we're not playing, so just get ready.
You ready? Okay. I'm me and she's she. And if you don't know us, that's your problem, not ours.
So let's do this.
So welcome to the second episode of the Shiawarma show. So Kath, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about Daesh in Iraq and how Daesh militants have actually used kids, surprise, surprise, as human shields.
Kids?
Yes, kids. Some other people have done that before.
Yep.
They're called Zionists.
Yep.
And now the Daesh people are doing it. So it's an interesting development, to say the least. So I'm going to let you do the honors and actually tell our listeners, what exactly happened.
Well, apparently, just like the Israelis before them, you've now got this bunch of nut jobs called Daesh, they've kidnapped, and this is just one of the stories. I mean, there's going to be so many more because, how much we actually get out of the news is just a fraction of the real insanity that's going on over there. So nearly 200 children have been kidnapped by Daesh, and they're being used as human shields. Where? Well, right now, everyone should know that there's a battle going on for Mosul, for the city that became the capital of Daesh in Iraq. And, it's famous. You had that clown, what's his name? Abu Bakr Baghdadi.
Don't even say his name. It's just like, it actually makes me nauseous just to think about that. And but let's just say that Iraq, the Mosul is actually the Aleppo
exactly.
of Iraq. So that should give people an idea of just how important it is to actually free that city. And of course, you had the crazy psycho sociopath just doing his, vomiting his hate from a mosque over there.
Exactly. So now, because the Iraqi army and the Hashd al-Sha'bi, that's the resistance forces in Iraq, are making a lot of headway, and you could say Mosul is very close to being cleansed. You've got these cowardly, pathetic, disgusting, filthy Daesh subhuman scum grabbing children, kidnapping children.
Why are we surprised?
We're not. Because
seriously, why are we surprised that they're actually stooping as well? If you recall just a few years back, with the Yazidi, how they actually stuck, I think it was 1 million people on the mountains, starving them.
Exactly.
Just because, they just decided that they were apostate, whatever that means, when you call Daesh. And the world cried for 5 seconds, and then I completely forgot those people.
Exactly.
It was heart-wrenching. And now you have them actually kidnapping kids. They've done so many horrible, disgusting things to Mosul, but now you're kidnapping the kids. You enslaved their women. You terrified, the people of Mosul. And you have to remember that Mosul is actually majority Sunni, so you can't even have the argument that, it's a sectarian thing. It's not sectarian.
Not at all.
Because clearly you're actually hitting and hating on those people, this school of thought within Islam that Daesh is actually claiming for itself.
Exactly.
So the argument is not standing. And that they became apostate as well.
Well, this is the thing with Daesh. We discussed this in the last episode, that this Wahhabi takfiri mentality that Daesh follows is the same junk that the Israelis promote and do to Judaism, and they call it Zionism. So, one could say that Zionism and Wahhabism are synonymous, and it really is. If anyone was in any doubt as to what Daesh actually is, it is the child of the alliance or association or whatever, I leave that to people's imagination, between Saudi Arabia and the Zionists, and they've got together, got a room maybe, I don't know, and out popped Daesh. And that's what it is. That's really what it is. You had America, Britain, France, everyone, being the midwives and the nurses and the hospitals and all of that.
Oh God, now you're giving me mental images, but I don't even want to think about this. But I say, let's just put that genie back in the bottle, because it's just not funny anymore. Do you know the thing that actually really, really makes me angry? And I do get angry because my red lines, whenever you say Wahhabism, if you know me, I'm just going to go off on a tangent and get angry.
Oh, yeah.
But here's what's really annoying is that the Western hypocrisy.
Yep.
Because you have them cry and shed tears, beautiful tears in front of the camera, saying, oh, those poor people and those poor children and whatever. What is it that you're doing? Because we have to remember that if those Daesh psycho right now in Mosul are actually capable of offering some kind of resistance to the Iraqi army, it's because they have been empowered.
Well, if you want to talk about empowering
weapons.
If you want to talk about empowering, just cast your mind back a few months, where you had this group called I think they were called the Nuruddin Zinki group or something crazy like that, and they beheaded a young 12-year-old kid.
Is that like a band or something? The Zinki group?
I have no idea, but this is what they're called, Nuruddin Zinki. They're part of Al-Qaeda, Daesh, and FSA, and all of this
okay, so
gibberish.
It's one of those, like, let's rebrand horror and just call it something else that it sounds like a cartoon or something.
Exactly. So these guys on, like, YouTube or whatever it was, they cut the head off a 12-year-old Palestinian kid.
Oh, right? I remember that.
Yep.
And then after they found out that actual guy took a picture, I think it was with Merkel.
Correct.
Or some other European official. It's kind of, it's a problem.
It's a problem.
It is a problem when you're actually associating with, not war criminals.
But it's actually worse.
Utter nut job.
But Kath, it's worse. It's worse because you had the West turn around, you had America, Britain, all of these Muppets turn around and do what? For a few days, you had the media saying, oh my God, these people are terrible. They're terrible. And then literally weeks later, if not days later, they turn around and say, these are the moderate rebels. I mean, come on, really?
Oh my God. Okay, this is when I wish I had actually a button that could play like the Jack Nicholson, you can't handle the truth. Are you serious right now? You mean those guys? Okay, hold on a second. So you mean the moderates in Iraq, but then when they come to the UK or in Belgium and they commit, terrorist act, then it's a crime against freedom everywhere.
But this then comes...
I want to know, please tell me, what is it that happens when you've reached, London Heathrow that turns a moderate psycho into like a full-blown, crazy person? What is it? Do they give you something at the airport? Or is it just like because he's having withdrawal from Captagon and he couldn't have his dose so that he just went on full-on crazy?
I think this is a question that the audience can maybe comment about in the comments below. So, if you guys are listening, if you know what happens to these nut jobs, feel free to stick something down in the comments. That would be really good because we've sat down, we've tried to think it through, and not just in this episode, we've actually talked about it at length, and we don't understand. So if you know the answer, if you're if you're one of the politicians that says these people are bad and then shuts up about them, put a comment down. Tell us, because, we'd love to know, and maybe we can even invite you as a guest.
Yeah, and if you're one of those guys that were actually clapping when the white helmets, got an Oscar, just don't even bother. Don't even listen, because we're actually not the people that you want to listen to, because we're not the right kind of Muslim. We're not the right kind of people, because we have problems.
Well, we're considered crazy by some.
Yeah, it's not. They don't call us crazy. There's another word they're using, but I'm not going to say it. It starts with an R.
Yes. But we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there.
We don't say these things ever.
But have you noticed something? This is where it gets very, very sort of insidious and nasty. The Western hypocrisy towards these institutionalized war crimes and crimes against humanity, right, is kind of insane, because just like you said, with one face they'll condemn it, and with the other face they'll say nothing. Like when London has a problem, when London has an attack, and that was tragic and terrible, you have the Eiffel Tower, being made just, all the lights get switched off and everyone's in mourning.
Yeah, I remember that. Right? That was just, look, don't get me wrong. I think we should condemn terrorism whenever. It doesn't matter who's the target, because it's just wrong. Nobody's disputing this or even disagreeing that, yes, we should all do, we should all condemn, we should all up in arms and reject it. For
Absolutely,
sure, no problem. But the thing that really annoys me and gets me and actually pisses me off is that there's double standards, and there's a form of latent fascist ethnocentrism that is just not working anymore. You can't just assume that because it's happening in Iraq, then it's cheap and it's okay for people to die, because this is what they've been doing for 14 centuries.
Exactly.
No. Blood is not cheap, especially when we're talking about the blood of the innocent. And I don't care where you come from. I don't care what is, your skin color. Because at the end of the day, that's just geography. I mean, seriously, if you have a problem with brown people, then don't get a bloody tan and just get over it. Don't move to Norway and just, stay in the Arctic Circle.
Hey, look, there's
Because
nothing wrong with
it's
Norway.
insanity. I mean, you're judging people based on what? Skin color? Really? Like the exposure to the sun?
The thing is, this type of mentality that some of these organizations and people have, this is something which, like you say, it's got fascist undertones, but it's worse. It's blatant racism, but they don't call it racism because it's the wrong way, or I don't know what it is.
Because racism is bad. Don't you know what it is? They're actually trying. This is the same thing that the Zionists are doing anyway. Do you know when they're claiming victimhood away from the actual victims?
Exactly.
And they're actually kind of deflecting or projecting their own crimes, those crimes that they themselves are committing, onto their victims. So you basically get doubly screwed because you turn into the bad guy, and there is nothing that you could do or say because they keep saying and victimizing you. Say, no, you're the one, you're the criminal, you're the this, you're the that. And the thing is, people just, are just going along with it. Why? Because they are capable of buying enough media airtime or, enough spaces. I don't know, Washington Post, New York Post, and Al Jazeera or whatever, CNN, Fox News. I mean, Fox News.
Fox News is not a news channel. Let's make that very clear. Fox News is comedy. It is not a news channel. Fox
News is an Orwellian reality that has gone Captagon-like. And I think that Hannity actually is not a real person.
He's a hologram.
Yes, exactly. See?
He's a hologram.
He's a neocon hologram who's being projected from Riyadh. And actually, it's Mohammed bin Salman speaking.
Are you sure it's not Salman himself? No, he'd forget. No, because
you can't remember his name half of the time, so it can't be him. It has to be Mohammed. It makes sense. Because actually, they own majority share in Fox News, so that would make sense.
Yes, this is very true. And, on that note, which actually is quite sobering, given that this show is a little bit satire and all this sort of stuff, this is a sobering point.
Are we? Are we doing that?
So people say that we're satire, right? I don't know. Anyway, but the thing is, on that note, which is actually quite sober, that is Mohammed bin Salman actually Hannity? This is a question that needs to be answered. So
yes, I said bring a DNA sample. Let's just take it.
I think if Mohammed bin Salman is actually watching this, he needs to make a comment, and he needs to testify.
Yeah, I'm just in between you and me, and I'm just going on a limb here. I think that the title of the show itself would scare the crap out of him.
Hey, look, come on.
Sandwich. He doesn't do. It's not halal for him. See. So I doubt that he can't. He's not doing all kind of shawarma for sure.
No, he doesn't like Shiawarma, and let's hope he doesn't taint the shawarma. And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna cut to a break, and we're gonna come back in the second segment in just a few minutes. Thanks a lot, and see you soon.